Good afternoon. This is another edition of Support Local. And if you've missed the previous videos, this is just a conversation where I talk to different people about holiday gift ideas that you can purchase locally, because when you spend your money locally, it stays in the community because the people you spend it with live here, they eat locally, they shop locally, they pay taxes, versus if you buy things from Amazon, for example. We all know Jeff Bezos has plenty of money and he's not sending it here. So I encourage you to shop locally for the holidays and year round. And joining me today is Blair from Blair VVitch. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I know there's a lot of people that like to buy experiences for the holidays and not gifts, especially for the people that already have so much stuff. And that's been harder to do because of COVID and the experiences are limited, but we have an exception here. So could you start by telling us about your business?
So I'm a tarot reader and an astrologer. For now it's just like tarot by Blair until I guess, it grows as it grows. But before COVID, I was doing events and like parties and reading for my friends and stuff, and I was obviously reading for myself. Um, and before that, like my first deck was when I was a teenager, and well before I was a teenager, I was playing with playing cards and like locking myself in the bathroom and running the water and like trying to see if there's ghosts in the house and whether or not they would answer the cards. So it was something that kind of just kept finding me again and again and again. And then come COVID, it was like, everybody lost a lot of things. You were out of job and this and that. And I was like, okay, well, I still have this to offer, and I don't have to worry about my own bias or, my own, ego talking, because it's kind of just like you go into a trance and what you say is in the cards there. So it just became kind of this like natural way to offer a little bit more of myself to the world, I guess.
Nice. So I met Blair because I was gifted a session, and it was a Merry Pandemic gift, which actually I love that. I thought that was a great title. Um, and so one of the options that you have for people for holiday gifts is a reading, correct?
Yes.
So
So
they're available. Go ahead.
I'll do and I do lives and stuff with Instagram, and I'll do like basic tarot and a little bit of numbers, but it's very general and very like the gist of it. So the readings that I offer gift certificates for will be that tarot, numbers, and then there's a supplemental deck that kind of just adds a little clarity to everything. So you'll have, the traditional tarot deck that I feel sort of acknowledges or addresses the spatial quality of whatever the given situation or whatever your current vibe is. And the numbers will kind of comment more on the physical quality of it or the time space of it. And then, whatever else decks I have will just kind of add another little message and bring it all together so that you get kind of what you needed out of the situation rather than like feeling like you needed more, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it was a really good confirmation of what my intuition was telling me. So it's helpful to have that discussion and get some different input and perspective as well.
Yeah, and like we live in a time too where there's a lot of doubtfulness in our own minds and of us, and that a little bit of validation or just kind of like essentially like third party kind of nonpartisan opinion with the cards, just kind of like speaking on the things that you maybe already knew or just needed to hear from somebody else, that because your friend can tell you like, yo, you need to leave that dude, but you're not going to listen to him. But if the cards tell you that, then all of a sudden you're like, oh snap, I need to reevaluate.
Yep. So you mentioned that you used to do events. Would you do a virtual event?
I haven't yet, but I'm 100% open to it. I think it'd be really cool. I think with groups and online, you do tap into the collective more. So if it was like a group party where they wanted individual readings, then having that be a breakout would be helpful. But collective readings are always, really spot on too. If you have, like you get together with your friends, that could say just a lot about that vibe of that room.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting.
That would.
So you mentioned Instagram. How can people follow you on Instagram? What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is at Witch Project, and that's WITCH, but project with a K, which is because often like occult magic is spelled with a K, and it was like a concert thing that I made when I was very young. But yeah, you can follow me there, and like I try to at least like once a week, if not every other week, do a collective reading, and I'll pop on and do pick a cards if somebody comments on the live and wants just top and bottom card. I do that just to kind of check in with my friends too, and you learn a lot about the room you're in, just trying to silence your mind and be a part of it. And it's definitely been an interesting way for me to still feel connected and get a sense of people's vibes through the internet, which has this great literal disconnection in a lot of physical ways.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting because when you were doing my reading, we were feeling some of the same sensations. And you mentioned it first. It wasn't that I said, I'm feeling this. You actually mentioned it before I did for the skeptics.
Yeah, and for the skeptics, I had a reading recently too, and that's kind of one of my favorite parts is when I get a skeptic and then they're just like, that was weird. A reading I had recently, a lot of times it'll kind of illustrate, or the reading will illustrate maybe like a breathing exercise or what have you that will benefit wherever that direction is going within that concept. But so I had given them a breathing exercise, and then before I went to bed, I thought, oh snap, there's another one that would have been helpful. Went to bed, and then the next day they reached out to me and were just like, hey, I had a dream. You told me about this breathing exercise, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, that's literally what I thought before I went to bed. And it's just kind of funny that it creates that connection, It's
Yeah.
a really personal experience, or it can be exactly what you make of it. And I think, yeah, shopping local and shopping for experiences is really important, because one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten is that you will never regret money you spend when you spend it on experiences, because nobody
Right.
can take.
Yep. Experiences and learning, which is what experience gives you, right? Is learning.
Absolutely. And learning every day is in its own a form of self-care, learning about you, or learning about aspects of you that you maybe were shying away from. And that's something that tarot also like will not let you do. If it's on your mind, it's going to come out.
Yeah. So if people want to reach out to you to get a gift certificate or to schedule a reading for themselves, what's the best way to reach you?
So you can find me on Instagram, which is Witch Project. On Facebook, I am Blair Witch, and the witch is with 2 V's because they wouldn't let me do the W. Or you can just directly email me. It's Blackloon Lilith, BlackLunelilith, at Gmail, and let me know that you want to purchase this reading for whoever, what have you, and then I'll send you a gift card so that you can send to them, and they'll be able to book with me. And within my Instagram too, you can just kind of look at my scheduling for booking from my link tree on there, and get a sense of what times could be like, or how long it'll maybe take.
I'm just typing a note about Linktree and Instagram. So for the procrastinators, you're a good option as well, because they can get this and don't have to worry about shipping.
Yeah, 100%. Like you can be like, homie, I got you this thing, but the scheduling's up to them at that point.
Yeah.
They'll come to it when they absolutely like, or like, yo, I need this direction or what have you, and it'll probably come in handy at exactly the right time. Truly.
Yeah. Exactly. So if anyone has questions, feel free to put those in the comments. If you're watching this after we're no longer live, you can let me know and I can follow up with Blair to make sure we get an answer to your question or comments as well. Is there anything else we didn't cover before I ask you about your favorite business?
On top of cartomancy and tarot, I also do astrological charts. So if that's, you know, something that you want to be able to do for yourself and gift to yourself, or, you know, you have, you know, your kids' birth times or what have you, or, you know, your best friend's birth time. It's a super, super personal gift that's really, really touching. But I do those as well. And I do astrological portraiture, where I just kind of like go into a meditative state on that person's chart and try, with what I know about deciphering the chart, create an image that kind of captures that narrative. So that's also something that is available if somebody wants to rock out on that.
Do you have an example of something you've created that you could share in pictures without getting into consent issues?
I do. So I did my chart, and I'm Scorpio moon, Sagittarius rising, or Sagittarius sun, and Aquarius rising. My Mars is in Cancer, so this is very much my, oh, there we go, perfect. So this kind of upward trajectory is my like midheaven, and my like Uranus and Neptune is all over here. So it's my experiences and like how you influence the outside world in that, and like my moon and sun sign are all up here, which ended up kind of looking exactly like the scars and body mods that I do have, which was very interesting. So yeah, it's again another weird, or not weird, but very intimate and interesting way to take another look at yourself in from a different perspective.
All right. I love those ideas as options for the holidays as well. Especially the astrological chart. That's really personal and
they've been really interesting. I've figured out kind of like, you know, the friends that I have that are really close, and maybe like why that necessarily happened, because we have similar houses in this or that, or, you know, people that I maybe didn't get along with as well, or, you know, it's just a really interesting way. You kind of see people in a whole new light, in a new sort of form of clarity. And I enjoy it a lot. So
I just thought of other people I could gift to, so I'll be emailing you right after this.
Awesome, cool.
All right, so the last question is, what is one of your favorite local businesses?
Especially my thing since quarantine has been like junk food. Cookies have gotten me through everything, because life is like a cookie. Even if you smash it in your pocket, it's still delicious. And there's a small bakery called Cooking with Curves. Erin, I believe, is the like main baker's name, and she delivers as well, packages them beautifully, and it is legit probably the best cookies I've ever had. My favorite have been the red velvet flavor, and there's a cookies and cream flavor that I'm absolutely obsessed with. But yeah, I hit this chick up and I'm just like, you know, I'm already fiending for your cookies, and that's been my like, okay, I have a hard week in quarantine, I deserve some cookies.
So you're a cookie monster, an inner cookie monster.
For sure. But yeah, Cooking with Curves has been my like, you know, quarantine guilty pleasure for sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the comments. But thanks for joining. This will be downloaded to my YouTube channel, and you can get to it easily by supportlocalevanston.com. And it will also be in the playlist. So if you missed the previous ones, make sure you watch those as well. And if you think about this later and you're like, wait, who is Blair again? What was their name? You can find out how to contact Blair through here. So,
yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Shop local.